Hello my friends, welcome to the Pro Am Strings Violin School. I'm Henriette and this is lesson 27 in the Crickboom Violin class for beginners. Today we're having a bit of an issue with the books because we're going to learn the song that's called Pastre de Montagno. You can find that in the older version of the book. Because it's not printed in the red book, in the newer version, I will put a copy of this music on my website and you can download it from there. So please take a look below this video in the description and follow the link there. If you play from a red book, and if you are having an older version of this book, you're in luck because that is printed in your book on page 12. I'll play it for you first. Lovely song. Now in this song we come across a couple of things that are different from how we have played in the past. First of all, we're starting on 4 notes up bows. So we're starting this piece at the point of the bow, and then I want you to use only a half bow there. So we're going and I'm staying, as you can see, at the upper half of the bow for the crotchets, the quarter notes that follow. And that I'm doing that because I want this song to be sounding quite bouncy, quite jolly, you see. And if I use the whole bow and play at the lower half, that's not going to work as well. You see, that makes the song much heavier in sound. So we want to stay at the upper half of the bow and deliberately in this piece separate our bows a little bit and play them almost staccato. Now in the past we have said your default playing style should be legato, and I stick with that still, but sometimes it's quite nice to play something in a little bit of a varied style, so that's what we're having here. I'm not sure if you can follow this as quickly as I'm playing it today. Later on, definitely I will invite you to play this a bit more slowly with me, but I just want to talk you through a couple of things. So we're starting at the point of the bow. Now here you can see there is a long bow, and I will need to make a little bit of space for that long bow on my bow. And what I mean by that is this. Can you see? I'm wriggling myself to the heel of the bow, and now I've got the whole bow ready to play. So say in the bar also, before this long note, I'm going to make my up bows a little bit longer than my down bows, so that gradually I'm moving towards the heel of the bow. So I'm going, I'm in the middle of the bow here. Can you see that? So I'll play it again for you so you can see. Upper half. I'm just sneakily moving towards the heel a little bit because I've noticed that that minim was coming up. This long bow then brings me to the point again, and I'm going to go to the middle of the bow again here. And I need to do the same thing here as well, because I have a minim coming up again, you see. So, now I could creep towards the heel like that, but what I also could do is lift the bow up slightly so that I move towards the heel much more quickly. Can you see? That's an alternative method. So I was playing at the upper half here, this is line 3. Can you see that? Here I don't need to do anything because I can stay at the upper half, and now I'm ready to play a whole bow, and from here you can see the slurs appearing in your music. So I can just play legato and use the whole bow for all of these slurs. Although I want to be in the middle right here. So now I am shortening my slur a bit. This is the second half of the 4th line, the first bar. So I was going, stay around the middle here, go to the heel of the bow again, and now long bows. And what happens here? This note here is called a tied note, and it ties together 2 beats in one bar and 2 beats in the following bar. Altogether, this note is going to be 4 counts, and it sounds as one sound. So although it's written as 2 notes, with a tie, it makes it sound like one. And there's no other way we can write that in music other than like this, to make a sound of 4 counts long that crosses a bar line, you see. If you want to know more about this, check out my video Learn to Read Music. And that course deals with tied notes as well. So all we need to know now is to go much more slowly with our bowing. And let it last for 4 counts. 3, 4, 1, 2. And it comes again here. Hold it. Now this D here, second bar of the bottom line, make it go just to the middle of the bow, because the next section I want to play at the upper half of the bow. And now I need to cheat a little bit and start the last bow right at the heel of the bow. And you can see how I am aware of where on the bow I'm playing at all times. Now when you're a beginner, that's not as easy to work out. That's why I'm talking you through this, and you might play this video back a little bit and write all these things down. Whole bow, WB, or half bow, HB in your music, so that you know and you start to get to know where you are. When you're a bit more experienced, you will start to notice for yourself what is a logical bowing, how we can work that out, where on the bow notes sound the best. But for now, I'll talk you through this because it's not as easy as you have noticed. Now, let's play this together now, shall we? And I'll talk you through while we play. So we keep stopping and starting, be aware of that. And you might have a pencil ready as well to make notes in your music, just where things appear in your music, okay? So, let me count you in for 2. Let's get ready at the point of the bow. So we're going to be using half of the bow right here. 1, 2. So up to this point, I've played on the upper half of the bow. You've noticed that, haven't you? And now we're going to cheat a little bit and gradually work our way towards the heel of the bow over the next 4 notes. There we are. Now we're finding ourselves at the heel of the bow, and you want to play a long D. Half a bow again for the next couple of notes. Upper half. For a moment. I can understand your question saying, why don't you play an open A string? I could do that. But, there's always a but, isn't there? I'm using the fourth finger simply to get this poor little finger a little bit more practice. It's the smallest finger with the tiniest of muscles, so you want to practice it as much as you can. So I'm going to start 2 bars before the end of line 2 on the open D string, and I'm going to practice my fourth finger. We're still playing on the upper half of the bow, by the way. 3, 4. And so it goes on. Be careful that you're not going like this with your bow. So you want to straighten up your bow arm, make it move towards the front of your tummy. Let's go at the end of line 2 again, 2 bars on the D, and here we've got this long note coming up, so I need to cheat a bit, and on the fourth finger go all the way through to the end of the bow. You can see this, all the way to the heel, ready to play a long note. Stay at the upper half now, long. Now here we're playing legato, so using long bows. Let's start on the last bar of the 3rd line, and upper half. Cheat here, long bow. So this bar here, which is the 3rd bar of the 4th line, we were playing on the upper half of the bow, and on the 2nd finger I'm going to go towards the heel to prepare myself for the long bow that's coming up at the end of this bar. So the 3rd bar of line 4, here we go, upper half, and whole bow now. Let's hold this note for 4 counts, so my bow travels very slowly. 1, 2, 1, 2, upper half, whole bow, and again move very slowly on your bow on the next note. Upper half, whole bow. Now that is what we would think, whole bow. But let's go up to the middle of the bow on this long D here, because of what follows. Long bow, and that allows me to hold the last note for as long as I like. Okay, so you can move your bow as slowly as you like, so you might even go super slow on this last note. 2, 3, 4. And perhaps you'd like it as well to let it ease off, let it soften up towards the very end of your bow stroke, and that's a proper beautiful ending. And that's also one of my things that I love in music is when you play your last note and polish it right until the end. That makes for good quality violin playing, in my opinion. I hope you've enjoyed that and didn't find it too confusing. Let's now think for a moment as well about how to count this piece. And I'm not going to worry too much about the first couple of lines, but I want to think about this line in particular. We know that our time signature in this piece is C, and C stands for common time. And the most common of time signatures in music is 4 crotchet beats in a bar, 4 quarter notes in a bar. And you can see that here. You've got lots of bars that have 4 crotchet notes, 4 quarter notes in. Now when we play quavers, and those are these ones here that go twice as fast, so they are 8th notes. In America you call them 8 notes, quavers in England. They go twice as fast as these notes, the crotchets or the quarter notes, you see. Now when we count quavers, you name the number of the beat in the bar and then the word and. So 1, 2, 3, 4 becomes 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and you can perhaps also already hear now how fast these notes are going to go, like that. Okay, now when we have this bar here, we count therefore 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1, 2 and 3, 4. 1, 2. This beat, we call it a minim in England. In America you call it a half note, lasts for 2 counts. So in this bar, this is 1, 2, 3, 4. That's how you hold it. 1, 2. Now this tied note holds for 3, 4, 1, 2. 3, 4, 1, 2. I hope that helps. There is also a video, Learn to Read Music Notes for Beginners. If you want to know more about how to count notes, please follow that course too. You can find it in the playlist for beginners. Now, as usual, I would like you to think for a moment also about the letter names of the notes, because very shortly we're going to be using that knowledge of our letter names. So let's just refresh our memory on the letter names of the notes on the D string by going over the notes here at the end. So perhaps you can call out the letter names of the notes here. This is a D, F sharp, E, E, D, F sharp, E, F sharp, E, and this piece finishes on a D. Well done, very good. I hope you've enjoyed this lesson and I hope it hasn't been too confusing about all the different places on the bow where you can play. But you've done a great job really thinking about that today. Go ahead and enjoy playing this piece as many times over as you like, and I very much look forward to seeing you again soon. Goodbye.